Why are Jews used as a scapegoat for all of the world's problems? Check out this clip over here with Douglas Murray, where he goes into this a bit in detail. So watch this clip together, and we'll talk about it. But before you do, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
I see Israel in the way that I see Turkey in Cyprus, not the way that I see Greece. Do you see Israel as Greece or Turkey equivalent?
I wouldn't say I see it as being either equivalent, for lots of reasons. First of all, Turkish expansionism is its own thing. Turkey and the Ottoman Empire has historically been very good at expanding way beyond its borders and wishing to build up an empire. It has been historically a very colonialist and expansionist power. Although there are,
and that's a red line for you, ethically.
It doesn't have to be. I'm broadly against it, yes, but I believe in nation states, but I also believe that nation states borders can change. But you, as you say, you better be up for that if you're going to do it. Israel's borders are disputable in three arenas, have been disputed in three arenas, principally the Gaza, the Golan, and Judea and Samaria. I see all of that as stuff that can be sorted out. The Golan is Israeli, Gaza is a mess, West Bank, negotiate. And again, we'll see. But I do think that something which everybody has to realize about the region is that, first of all, it is the one place that is the Jewish homeland. Muslims have many different homelands, like Christians have many different homelands. The Jews have one homeland. They're in it. And as Golda Meir famously said to Joe Biden, they have a secret weapon, which is they have nowhere else to go. And the people who sometimes fantasize about Israel's enemies winning a victory over Israel should realize that, should recognize that. I think it's a very strange thing. I'm glad you brought up Cyprus. It's a very strange thing, the world to fixate the amount that it does on this one particular territorial dispute, which is a real territorial dispute. But it's telling that it's the one that gets the world's attention. The Western Sahara question does not. Cyprus does not. There are many territorial disputes around the world. It is a very interesting one, this one. And one of the reasons I think it is so important is because I think that the anti-Israel people have chosen their target well. They have realized correctly that the Jewish state, Judaism, foundational to the Judeo-Christian tradition, which is obviously, whether you like it or not, foundational to the foundation of the West. They realize that if they take out Israel, they can take out something very fundamental to the West. I think they are right, but I simply don't want them to succeed.
Do you think of then the Israel conflict as a flag bearer for the Western world? And it's like, hey, you've got this in our region, and so we're treating this like a splinter? Because literally, until that sentence came out of your mouth, I would have said, certainly for my own sake, that this is about Jews and has nothing to do with Jews as representative of the West. Just because when I look back in history, I remember one of my earliest awakenings to patterns of history was my sister, who was obsessed with Russian history, was telling me about pogroms. And I'm like, why always the Jews? Like, I don't understand. So, and you confront that in your book. Yeah. So I suppose my question is two parts. One, is what's going on in Israel from an international perspective, them as harbinger of the West, irrespective of being Jews? Or is what's going on over there, Jews just represent something, man, that for a long time has wound people up?
I think it's both. I think since the West is based, as everyone knows, on Athens and Jerusalem, you would not want to take out the legacy of Jerusalem any more than you'd want to take out the legacy of Athens. But either would be devastating to the Western tradition. And at the same time, Judaism, the Jewish people are their own thing. And they, as you say, throughout history have come in for a disproportionate amount of hatred. And as I say in the book, there are very, very clear reasons for that. And I think, among other things, that the human desire to find a scapegoat, which René Girard, among others, wrote about so eloquently, is absolutely hardwired into us. The Jews are almost perfect as a scapegoat for absolutely anyone. They could be a scapegoat for the Christian world, and they can be a scapegoat for the Islamic world. They can be a scapegoat for the rich and for the poor, for the for people of left and right politically. And I go into the reasons for that. And but I believe that the moments when societies become filled with this sort of noxious thing of anti-Semitism is a thing when you can tell the society itself is starting to go rotten.
And they're looking for someone to blame?
Looking for. It is, as I say, it's a mirror for the failings of anyone who indulges in it. As I quote Vasily Grossman, tell me what you accuse the Jews of, and I'll tell you what you're guilty of. You might be amused, of course, to know that that works for governments as well as for individuals. The Turkish government calling the Israelis occupiers is one that particularly amuses me, because all it does is tell us about the Turkish government.
Societies manufacture scapegoats when they lack the courage to manufacture integrity. Where self-reflection ends, scapegoating begins. It's much easier to have a scapegoat than it is to look in the mirror. And the Jews are a very easy target for scapegoating. On the one hand, they're a very small group of people, 15 million, 14 million across the entire world. There are more Rwandans in the world than there are Jews. And yet they disproportionately have excelled in every area under the sun, whether we're talking about in science and medicine, or in government, or in Hollywood. Their influence far exceeds their numbers. And so they're the perfect target for attributing all of the ills of the world as sort of this secret society, manipulative society that hides behind the curtain and pulls the strings behind the scenes. This is something that's obviously false, but unfortunately throughout our history, in various ways, has been why we were the target. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.